Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 900 and... Oh, not 1,000. We're not at 998. But oh, so close. So close indeed. I can't turn off the TV here at Cafe anyway. There it goes. Ugh. TV's such a distraction. Welcome. This is Mike Matthews.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Broadcasting from Cafe Anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
So this is my first podcast of 2016. And this is a great podcast, if you know what I mean, because we have a lot of merriment, and we make a scene, and we seldom get really obscene. While I was walking Basil yesterday, I was careened.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
By a 2-year-old lab chasing after a ball like a
Mike's
ball retrieving
Daily
machine.
Podcast.
And I was in her way.
Yeah!
I fell over like a bowling pin, right onto the asphalt. Whose ass's fault was that? Okay, maybe a little obscene. I landed on my side. Not pleasant. I thought when I would strip later on in the evening, I would see black and blue on my side. But no, thankfully, no. I'm okay. I forgot to talk about on the last show, when we were back in 2015, that I was on my way to work, and I'm driving along Mission Boulevard. I'm sort of in between Union City and Fremont. And there's this guy on a motorcycle, and he's ahead of me. And this is 4:35, 4:45, somewhere there in the morning. And I'm driving along there, and there's a guy, a motorcyclist, and he's... Whoops, sorry, I was trailing off with my story. There's a motorcyclist there, and I'm about to pass him because he's not going that fast, and I'm thinking he should move along at a faster clip. So I'm driving up alongside of him, and oh, look, he just walked in. Hello, Matthews, it's Chely Shoehart. Oh my God, I can't wait to find out what the end of the story is. Okay, I'm gonna tell it to you now. You better. I'm doing it now. Okay. Here it goes. Waiting. Here it is. So I'm driving up alongside of him, and all of a sudden he turns on his police lights. Yes, he is a cop. He's not on like a totally, I guess like a, what do you call it, undercover cop bike. That's what he was on. So I immediately slow down, and I'm thinking, is he gonna slow down and get behind me and then give me a ticket? But no, he didn't, thankfully. And then we stopped at a stoplight, and there was sort of an awkward moment between him and I, where I was looking at him and he wasn't looking at me, and I was thinking, I broke the law. But the thing is, you see, and this is my thinking, is that I get dinged a lot by policemen. I got a stupid ticket, as I mentioned on earlier podcasts, for having Basil off leash, and I got a ticket one time, or I stopped at a stop sign near my house, and I didn't stop, I guess, long enough. And there was a CHP guy at that time, because CHP monitors Podcastro Valley. Look who else has walked in. Hello, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere the engineer. Yay, Christmas is over. You're glad Christmas is over? Yes. All right. It's a holiday that has a lot of stress behind it. It does? Why is that? Well, I have to buy presents for everybody, and I don't feel like it. Yeah, Mike, we're not very giving people. We like to hoard. We're hoarders, not givers. Oh, that's interesting. Yes, Mike, so if Christmas is more of a hoarding holiday instead of a giving holiday, we'd be fine with that. Hoarding? Yes, hoarding. Interesting. Yeah, so the motorcycle cop flashed his lights, and it was interesting. That was interesting. I think I'm going to stop using the word interesting. From now on, we'll use the word glop. That's the word. All right. It was very glop. Speaking of glop, there's a lot of sick people. There were a lot of sick people at the end of last year. Everywhere I went, there were sick people. My roommate had a cold. There were a bunch of people at work that were sick. Knock on, what do I have around here? I'll knock on Floyd's head. Thank you, Mike. That feels good. Yay! Sound effects. Yeah, that one we went through a lot of trouble to get that sound effect of knocking it on your head. Thanks, Mike. And then, what were you going to say, John Deere? I was going to sing that song. Knock 3 times if you love me. It's a beautiful song. I like to sing it to Floyd. Yeah, he does. It's beautiful. Wonderful. That's very glop. Yeah, so I hope people are a little bit more well here in 2016. Oh, and I take back everything I say about Guy Fieri. I was talking a lot about Guy Fieri last week or so. About the whole his show being funny and how he likes to talk to the cooks and how he's really good coming up with stuff off the top of his head. I don't like him anymore, and I'll tell you why. 2 words: jump cuts. I'm sick of jump cuts, and I guess Food Network likes to incorporate a lot of jump cuts now. Everything is jump cutted up the max, and it makes no sense. I understand why you use jump cuts, which is that you just have this really quick editing. For example, it would sound as if when I would say to you, let's say the sentence that, hello, my name is Mike Matthews, it would sound more like this jump cutted. Hello, I am Mike Matthews. That's what they do it because they're splicing together pieces of film and trying to make it move really fast and trying to keep the average viewer's attention, which I guess the attention of the average viewer is nothing now. It was nothing in the... So, the third Star Wars, The Return of the Jedi, the third one that was made. I know, there's all the number schemes and everything. No, the third one that was made, George Lucas said he deliberately in that movie sped up the edits as fast as he could. He wanted to see how fast he could go and still make it understandable. But now we've gone to the extreme and we have this horrible thing called jump cuts. Grace Hedberg, that famous YouTube comedian, she uses it a lot. I still feel like I'm not explaining myself, but that's all right. I think I've said enough. Mike Matthews, I like jump cuts because they do crazy things. Like all of a sudden, like they show like their faces going, meh, and then they jump to something else. I like it, Mike Matthews. All right. I guess it kind of feels to me like getting careened into by a Labrador is sort of how it feels like. Or getting a ticket from some policeman who has decided that Mike Matthews is my target and I must give him tickets. Because that seems to be, I have a target on my back for the police. They like to give me tickets for the smallest, tiniest infractions. And I almost got one that day going to work, and luckily I didn't, thank you. I guess that police officer was nice. Hey, that's it for Bob Eubanks and Stephanie Edwards. They're not doing the Rose Parade anymore. They're done. They're old. Well, Bob Eubanks is really old. Stephanie Edwards was the spokesperson for Vons for a long time. Vons is a supermarket chain in Southern California. I used to have to record those commercials into the radio station system, and I'd have to tag her things with what the latest specials were. Avocados 5 for $1. Hey, that's a deal. Price is only good till January 15th. So they've been doing that Rose Parade though since 1982, which is amazing. And I didn't even see the Rose Parade this year. I think this is the first year I haven't I used to go
into an interview.
Oh, let's have an interview now with me. Mike, tell us about when you were at the Rose Parade when you were a kid. Okay, Mike, I sure will. I used to go to the Rose Parade as a kid all the time with my Aunt Catherine, and she had this place that she would go to that was further along the parade route and wasn't so crowded, and we would go there. We'd leave late in the morning because we liked to sleep in, and we'd be able to see the Rose Parade, the entire Rose Parade. Of course, when you get to the end of the Rose Parade, a lot of those floats have broken down, so you see a lot of tow trucks at that point of the Rose Parade. Isn't that fascinating? Mike Matthews says some fascinating things, doesn't he, John Deere? Yeah, very glop. Thank you. And finally, I just wanted to mention Twilight Zone. I used to never, ever watch that show. I hated the show because it would come on Channel 5. Speaking of Channel 5, which also carried the Rose Parade, KTLA, in Los Angeles. And I would watch the Twilight Zone. They'd show it all the time. And in fact, I think it was them that started the whole concept of doing a marathon of Twilight Zone all day, which is what the Sci-Fi Channel was doing, I guess, all weekend for the New Year's weekend. And I never liked it because it was in black and white, and watching it in the middle of the afternoon made me feel like I was a total do-nothing, like that there was stuff I should be outside. I didn't like to just veg out in front of the TV as a kid. All my friends used to love watching Twilight Zone. Well, I caught a couple episodes of Sci-Fi's marathon today of the old Twilight Zone. And seeing it now as a 47-year-old, I am freaking blown away by that show. I love Rod Sterling's the whole delivery and how he introduces each episode, and how you have these famous actors that were you had William Shatner on the show, Lee Marvin. They're Jack Klugman, Quincy, I saw on one, and they are demanded to act. A lot of the show was dialogue, Twilight Zone, and then you would have some science, effects, special effects, and usually they were really horrible and cheesy. But it was all the dialogue and the build-up and the storytelling that made it a really good show to watch, and that's why it's still a classic today. So it's interesting to... There were commercials, by the way, during this Twilight Zone for Verizon, and they are trying to target what they call the know-it-alls. And these are people that when you're trying to tell a story and you're like, I think it was Jack Klugman. No, it wasn't. It was Tony Randall. And then they, you look it up really quick on your cell phone and you've got the information on your smartphone. Those people that do that, they're called know-it-alls. And what's really fun is when you talk to someone who's like 20 and they feel empowered with all this technology that they do know it all. But what the fact of the matter is they have no street smarts whatsoever, which is totally true of everybody. Everyone. When I got out of college, I still didn't know crap. I didn't know anything. I didn't understand basic fundamental facts about the automobile. And I destroyed my car because I didn't put the right oil in and all this stuff. Just fundamental things, but it's so funny because I did it when I was in my 20s to talk to a 20-something now who thinks they know it all, and you're like, ha! Street smarts. But I love your little ignorance. Stay in your ignorance bubble as long as you can, is all I have to say. My dad once said to me, he goes, Mike, you're in a little bubble right now. And that irritated me when he said that. But it was true, I was. And maybe that was a good thing I was in a bubble. Enjoy that bubble hold on to 16 as long as you can. Changes come real soon. Make us women and men, as John Mellencamp said. I had a couple of interesting news stories that you may or may not have heard of. I got 3 of them lined up. We'll get to that at the very end. But first, a little bit of a weird harp sound effect is going to take us back in time to New Year's Eve and the fun and merriment that happened at my party. And Robert Welsh from the segment Welsh on the World was there. Haley, who's on just about every show that I do now, was there. Haley's girlfriend Becca was there, and Robert Welsh of Welsh on the World's fiance was there, Christy. She was there. So let's go now back in time to that wonderful New Year's Eve evening. Now, let's go. Beginning with Robert Welsh singing.
When we were younger and free.
Well, welcome to Mike's Daily Podcast, live from Cafe Anyway. This is the New Year's Eve edition, 1000th episode. We're lying.
I'm still here.
Haley's here.
You can't escape me in co-hosting.
We have Basil here. There's Becca. Becca! She drew a cartoon, a podcast picture. Thank you, Becca. And look, there's Robert Welsh from Welsh on the World. Oh, I can't get this microphone to you. We're having fun karaoke, saying goodbye to 2015. Well, my question to you, Haley, is welcome to Cafe Anyway in Podcaster Valley. How does it feel to actually be in Podcaster Valley?
There's CDs everywhere.
Yeah.
I feel at home.
Haley and I have spent many times, not together, but on separate trips to Rasputin's.
Yep.
And I have a lot of Rasputinage CDs where they sell their CDs used. But I don't buy CDs anymore because I felt I had a sickness, as you can see. 2,000 CDs. It creates a wall here at Cafe Anyway.
I'm just a beginner. I have like 300 or so.
You only have 300?
I know. I'm working on it.
Did you start last week? Do you know how tough that was to move 2,000 CDs?
And you have 2 Avril Lavigne Let Go CDs.
Yes. I have 2 Alicia Keys from her first album. The A's, I have for some reason 2 Anna and Alex. I have a couple of A's that I've repeated. There's 800 people here. Oh, I didn't mention Christy's here. Robert's betrothed. And say something, Christy. Come on.
Hello.
Whoa, she's on my podcast. Wow. Robert, do you want to interview her now?
Thank you, Christy, for saying hello from the other side.
I'm just happy to be on this side.
Christy, it's been a while now since you've been back at Mike's house. How do you feel being here now when it's so close to 2016?
It's a new leaf, and it's a great place to be.
And Mike cooked some delicious chicken, but not enough vegetables. How did that make you feel?
I felt good, actually. It was a good meal. I got my fill of
Potatoes a vegetable.
It was...
Screensaver's kicking in. We're going to see pictures now because my computer's screensaver just kicked in. Go on. I'm sorry, Robert.
Thank you, Mike.
Welsh on the world.
Thank you, Mike, for being such a great host and a great friend to us in 2015 and hopefully for many more years to come.
I have a crush on her. That's why her name is Mary Higgins. Aww.
Mike, she looks...
Basil!
There's Basil.
She looks just like Basil.
Oh no, I just discovered that I have a love affair with my dog.
That girl looks just like Emma Stone.
She's...
Because you like Emma Stone.
I think I probably secretly like Emma Stone.
Yeah.
What's Emma Stone done lately?
I don't know. Nothing that I've seen.
Oh, Haley, Robert tries to fix me up with women.
I know there was a girl waiting for you at church, but...
Was she mad? Was she angry?
She sat by herself and said a prayer that you would show up and you didn't, so... Not sure how well that worked.
Oh, I feel awful now.
Well, it's okay. There's always another opportunity.
No, I think I shot at my foot. Now, ouch.
No, Mike, you got to be aggressive. You got to go after what you want.
I got to be aggressive?
Yes.
B-E aggressive. B-E-A-G-G-R-E-S-I-V-E.
Well, I can't hear her because she's talking miles away from the microphone.
She's saying be regressive.
Aggressive.
Aggressive, sorry.
What's with all this violence? Why do you guys want me to carry guns and shoot people?
Well, you were wooing the lead pastor's daughter, weren't you? So, I mean, church really is, it's not really a shock to go there.
I just met her for coffee. I wasn't really...
I know, but she's sort of she's close to the head honcho, you know? The leader.
At your church, yeah. That's funny.
You like powerful women, huh, Mike?
I think I do. I like women in power suits.
Mm-hmm. Who can take control and dominate you and other things?
No. No, that's only fun for so long. And then that gets, you're kind of like, well, I don't like being chained up all day to this bed with my hands.
Yeah, that's a little scary, I think, yeah. That's very 51 Shades of Grey or something.
51st Dates?
Yes.
51st Dates, Shades of Grey. Welsh on the World.
Welsh on the World.
Haley.
Welcome to our show.
All right. Now we still... I need water. Oh, man. It's dry here at Cafe Anyway. Mike Matthews, that's because there's a lack of moisture. Is that what dry is? I wasn't sure. Yeah, so what we'll do is, next show we're going to bring you the segment WOW SCHATZ WOW with some fun news, interesting stories. We'll hear from Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. And then the show after that, since that will be 999... the next show will be, and the show after that will be 1,000. We will get to another fun part of that party where we celebrated the fact that it was the 1,000th episode. So we're kind of, yes, the 1,000th episode party has already taken place, but the highlights from that party we'll have on the 1,000th episode. Yes, I don't think I explained that at all. Or maybe I did, and maybe I should shut up. But I think it's time to go outside a cafe anyway. We're bringing Mike's daily podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley. Yeah.
And here's today's podcast picture.
And the podcast picture was from earlier today. I was at 21st Amendment in San Leandro seeing Kevin from the segment Addendum with Kevin. And there was Basil was with me, and I put some antlers on him, and it's really cute. Sort of the last holiday picture of the year that you'll see, even though the holiday